Rachel's phone lit up on our nightstand while she was in the shower. A text from Sarah, but the photo was Derek Morrison, shirtless. I stared at that screen for maybe 30 seconds before my brain would process what my eyes were seeing. The notification preview showed just enough. Derek's reflection in a hotel bathroom mirror, water droplets on his chest, white towel around his waist. The message underneath, "Missing you already." The phone kept dimming. I kept tapping it to keep it lit. Like if I looked long enough, the image would change into something that made sense. It didn't. I set the phone back exactly where Rachel had left it, screen down, 3 inches from the lamp. The shower was still running. I could hear her singing something from Sunday's worship set. Her voice carried through the walls of our master bathroom, clear, beautiful, completely unaware. My hands were shaking. I walked to the bathroom trash can. We have one of those chrome step pedal bins. The lid opens with a soft whoosh. I pressed the pedal and looked inside. There, under 3 tissues and a cotton swab, was a crushed cardboard box, blue and white. Clear blue digital, the pregnancy test packaging. I pulled it out carefully, like it might explode. The box was empty, except for the instructions. The plastic wrapper was crinkled, torn open hastily. It smelled faintly chemical, that sharp medicinal scent mixed with our bathroom's lavender air freshener. Rachel had told me about the pregnancy 6 hours ago, over dinner. She'd cried. "Happy tears," she said, "a surprise blessing." Her hands had been shaking when she showed me the test stick. 2 lines in the window, pregnant 3+ in the digital display. I'd hugged her, told her it was amazing, asked all the right questions. And now I was holding the empty box in my hands, looking at a photo of another man on her phone, and doing math that didn't add up. The shower turned off. I heard the curtain rings slide. I dropped the box back into the trash, covered it with tissues, closed the lid, walked back to the bedroom, sat on the edge of our bed where we'd slept for 12 years. Our bed with the wedding photo on the nightstand, young faces, Bible college graduation gowns, ridiculous hope in our eyes. Rachel came out wrapped in her robe, hair dripping. She smiled at me. "You okay?" she asked. "You look pale." I forced my mouth to work. "Just tired. Long day." She kissed the top of my head. Her hair smelled like coconut shampoo. She picked up her phone, glanced at the screen, and I watched her face. Nothing. No reaction. She swiped something away and set it back down. "I'm going to bed early," she said. "Big day tomorrow. Sunday service prep starts at 6. "Yeah." My voice sounded far away. "Big day." She climbed into bed. Within 10 minutes, her breathing had evened out. Asleep. I sat there in the dark, phone in my hand now, pulling up my calendar, looking at dates. The ultrasound she'd shown me was dated October 15th, 8 weeks pregnant, which meant conception around February 14th to 18th, Valentine's weekend. I scrolled back to February, found the dates, stared at the entry I'd written in red. Dallas Leadership Conference, solo trip, Feb 14 to 18. I'd been gone that entire week, solo, at a conference 3 hours away. I remembered it clearly, staying in a Holiday Inn Express, attending workshops on youth ministry innovation, eating terrible hotel breakfast alone every morning. Rachel had been home with Emma. I'd called every night. She'd sounded normal. The math didn't work. It couldn't work. Unless I opened the calculator app, counted backward from her due date, counted forward from the dates I was gone, did it 3 times, 4 times. Every calculation landed on the same 5-day window, the exact 5 days I wasn't home. I looked at her sleeping face, peaceful, one hand resting on her still flat stomach, the woman I'd married 15 years ago, the woman who led worship every Sunday morning, the woman who coordinated our church's women's ministry, the woman who taught Emma about faith and purity and the sanctity of marriage, the woman who'd saved Derek Morrison's name under Sarah so I wouldn't question her texts. We don't abandon faith when people fail us. That's what I'd been taught. That's what I taught our youth group kids every Wednesday night. We don't abandon faith when people fail us. There has to be an explanation. There has to be grace. But I couldn't make this make sense. I had exactly 8 hours before I'd have to stand next to her in front of the entire congregation and pretend to be the perfect family. Sunday morning came too fast. No sleep, just staring at the ceiling, doing math over and over, hoping I'd gotten something wrong. I hadn't. Rachel was up at 5:30, humming while she did her makeup. I watched her from the bathroom doorway. She was applying the same mascara she'd worn for years. Same routine, same woman. How does someone do that? How do you brush your teeth and flat iron your hair and practice worship cues when you're... Michael? She caught my reflection in the mirror. You sure you're okay? You're staring. Fine. I wasn't fine. Just thinking about today's message. Pastor Greg is preaching on covenant this morning. She smiled. Covenant. Of course he was. Should be good. You want coffee? I'll get it. Downstairs, I made coffee with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. Emma came down 20 minutes later, already dressed for youth worship, 16 years old, my daughter, our daughter, Rachel's daughter. She had Rachel's eyes and my stubborn chin and absolutely no idea that her world was about to implode. Morning, Dad. She kissed my cheek. You look exhausted. Didn't sleep great. Well, wake up. Mom and I are doing the duet this morning. You don't want to miss it. She was so excited. She'd been practicing the harmony part for 3 weeks. Good Father. A song about God's faithfulness. The irony wasn't lost on me. We drove to church separately, Rachel and Emma in Rachel's car because they had to be there early for sound check, me following 15 minutes later in my truck. Riverside Community Church sits on 12 acres in North Austin. We'd grown from 300 people when I started as youth pastor 10 years ago to 2,500 every Sunday. Services live streamed to another 10,000 viewers. We had a coffee bar, a bookstore, 3 worship teams rotating through 4 services. We looked successful. We looked blessed. We looked like we had it all together. I parked in my usual spot, youth pastor painted in blue letters on the curb, and sat in my truck with the engine off. Through the glass doors, I could see people streaming in, families, couples, singles, everyone dressed in their Sunday clothes, carrying Bibles, smiling. In an hour, I'd have to go up there, sit on the stage, make announcements about next week's youth retreat, smile, wave, be Michael Bennett, the youth pastor everyone trusted with their kids. My phone buzzed. Tom Chen, you coming in? Elder meeting before service. Tom, church attorney, my closest friend on staff. If anyone would know what to do, it would be Tom. But what would I even say? Hey, I think my wife is pregnant with another man's child? I found a text from Derek Morrison on Rachel's phone. The math doesn't work. I needed more than suspicion. I needed proof. I pulled out my phone and opened the photo app. Found the ultrasound picture Rachel had shown me last night. She'd texted it to me. Our little miracle, with 3 heart emojis. I zoomed in on the date stamp. October 15th, 2025. 8-week scan. Hill Country Women's Health. I took a screenshot. Then I opened my calendar and took screenshots of February. The dates I was gone. The dates circled in red. Then I got out of my truck and went inside. The service started at 10. By 9:45, I was sitting in my usual seat, front row, far right, next to where Emma would sit after youth worship. Rachel was on stage with the worship team checking mic levels. She wore a cream-colored dress, hair perfect, smile bright. She caught my eye and blew me a kiss. I didn't move. The sanctuary filled up, 2,500 people. I recognized most of them. The Morrison family came in around 9:50. Derek, Sarah, and their 2 kids. They sat in their usual spot. 3rd row, center. Derek was a small group leader, real estate developer, made good money, always wore nice suits to church. He shook hands with the people around him, clapped Pastor Greg on the shoulder when Greg walked past. Sarah Morrison was Rachel's best friend, had been since college. They'd roomed together at Texas State, been in each other's weddings, their kids played together. Sarah was an OB/GYN nurse, sweet woman, loved Jesus, loved her husband, completely unaware that I couldn't finish the thought. Pastor Greg took the stage at 9:58. "Morning, Riverside. Y'all ready to worship?" The crowd responded. Music started. Rachel stepped up to the mic, and I watched Derek Morrison mouth the words along with her. He knew every cue, every pause, every breath. When she closed her eyes during the bridge of "How Great Thou Art," Derek closed his eyes too. When she raised one hand, palm up, Derek's hand went up, mirroring her, like he'd seen her practice, like he'd watched her 100 times, like he knew her better than a small group member should. I looked down at my hands. My wedding ring caught the light. Silver band, engraved 1 Cor 13:7-8. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. I twisted it around and around. Rachel wasn't wearing hers. I'd noticed this morning. Bare finger. "I took it off last night," she'd said when I'd asked. "My fingers are swelling already. Pregnancy hormones." But her hands looked fine. No swelling, no puffiness, just no ring. The sermon was about covenant. Pastor Greg was passionate. 40 minutes on faithfulness, on keeping promises, on the sanctity of marriage as a picture of Christ and the church. He used our names twice. Michael and Rachel Bennett, married 15 years, serving God faithfully, as an example of godly partnership. 2,500 people nodded, 10,000 watching online, all seeing the perfect couple. I wanted to throw up. After the service, I had to do youth ministry announcements from the stage. I walked up there, took the mic, and somehow made my mouth work. "Hey everyone, Michael Bennett here. Quick reminder, youth retreat is in 3 weeks. Sign-ups close Friday. We're going to the hill country, camping, worship, s'mores, the whole deal. It's going to be amazing. Don't miss it." I sounded normal. I even smiled. Then I walked off stage through the side door and stood in the hallway breathing like I'd run a marathon. Tom Chen found me there. "Michael, you okay, man?" "Fine." "You don't look fine. You look like you saw a ghost." I almost laughed. A ghost, if only. "Can we talk?" I asked privately. "Sure. My office?" "No, somewhere off campus." Tom studied my face. He's known me for 10 years. He knows when something's wrong. "Give me an hour. Meet me at Mozart's on the lake." "Thanks." I went looking for Rachel. Found her in the fellowship hall, surrounded by women from the ministry team. They were all talking about the pregnancy. Congratulations, hugs, tears. Rachel's hand on her stomach, glowing. Emma was with her, beaming, so proud of her mom, so excited about being a big sister. I stood in the doorway and watched this scene, mother and daughter, our family, everything we'd built for 16 years. And I knew, absolutely knew, that in a few hours, I was going to burn it all down. I didn't go to Mozart's. I went home, straight to our bedroom. Rachel's laptop was on her desk, a silver MacBook Air covered in worship ministry stickers, a rainbow cross, musical notes, Psalm 100 in cursive. The laptop every church member saw her use when she made Sunday slides. It was open, still logged in. I shouldn't have looked. I looked. Her email was up. Gmail, inbox showing 43 unread messages. But that's not what I clicked. I clicked trash. Then I clicked deleted items. People always think deleting something makes it gone. It doesn't, not immediately. There were 6 emails in the trash, all from Rachel's account, all to Derek Morrison's personal email, all dated within the last week. I opened the first one, Derek, can't stop thinking about last weekend. You make me feel alive in a way I haven't felt in years. I know this is wrong. We're both married, best friends, but I can't help it. When you touch me, everything else disappears. R. My vision tunneled. I clicked the next one. D. Michael asked about the hotel keycard. I told him it was from the women's retreat. He believed me. He always believes me. I don't know if that makes it easier or harder. R. The hotel keycard. I hadn't asked her about any hotel keycard, but now I was going to find it. I went back to the bedroom, started going through her things. Purse, nothing. Coat pockets, nothing. A suitcase from her last trip, there. In the inside zippered pocket, a white plastic card with a gold Hilton logo. Room 823. The envelope it came in had a receipt tucked inside. Hilton Austin downtown. February 15th, 17, 2-night stay, 1 ounce, 823, Valentine's weekend, the weekend I was in Dallas. My hands were steady now, weirdly calm. I pulled out my phone and took pictures, the key card, the receipt, the dates, the room number. Then I went back to the laptop, kept reading. There were 47 emails total, not 6, 47. The trash only showed recent deletions, but the church server backed up everything. I knew that because I'd been in the meetings when we set up the system, auto backup every night to secure servers. For legal protection and continuity, Pastor Greg's words, Jennifer Rodriguez would have access. She was our church administrator, handled all the IT stuff. I grabbed my phone and called her. Jennifer, it's Michael. I need a favor, a big one. Can you check the church server backup for Rachel's ministry laptop? There was a pause. Michael, those are private emails. I'd need permission from... Please. My voice cracked. I need to know if there are more deleted emails from her account, sent between February and October, to Derek Morrison. Another pause. Longer this time. Michael, what's going on? I'll explain later. Can you just... Please, I need to know. Give me 20 minutes. She called back in 18. Michael, her voice was shaking. There are 47 deleted emails, all to Derek Morrison, all sent from Rachel's church laptop. Some of them... She stopped. Some of them what? Some of them were sent during Wednesday evening worship practice, from the church building, from the ministry office. Michael, the timestamp on one of them is 6:47 p.m. on a Wednesday. Emma arrives at 6:50 for practice. Yeah. I sat down on the edge of our bed with the wedding photo, our bed where she'd slept peacefully last night. Jennifer, can you print all of them, hard copies, and keep this between us for now? Of course. Michael, I'm so sorry. Yeah, me too. Small group met Sunday night at our house. It always did. Every other week, same 6 couples, same living room, same chip and dip setup on the coffee table. Derek and Sarah Morrison arrived at 6:30, right on time. Sarah carried a dessert, chocolate brownies. Derek carried a bottle of wine. They hugged us at the door. Derek's hand on Rachel's shoulder lingered just a second too long. I saw it now, everything I'd been missing for months. The group settled in. We did our usual opening prayer, quick check-in about our weeks. Then we opened the Bible. This week's study, biblical marriage. Someone had picked the topic months ago, probably me. I couldn't remember now. So Ephesians 5, Tom Chen started, he was co-leading tonight. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church. Wives, submit to your husbands. How do we unpack that in 2025? The discussion flowed. People had opinions, strong ones, about partnership, about sacrifice, about covenant. I wasn't listening. I was watching. The way Rachel and Derek sat, not next to each other, that would be obvious. But diagonal across the living room, Rachel on the love seat, Derek on the armchair by the fireplace, where they could see each other without being obvious, where they could make eye contact without anyone noticing. Except I was noticing now. Behind Derek's chair on the mantel sat our small group photo frame. 8 by 10, wooden, with blessed carved into the bottom. The photo was from last year's marriage retreat weekend. All 6 couples around a campfire, everyone laughing, everyone holding s'mores. I'd looked at that photo 100 times. Tonight, I really looked. Rachel and Derek were standing together, not next to their spouses. Derek's hand was on Rachel's lower back, not high, middle back, where a friend might rest a hand, lower, right above her waist, possessive, and Rachel was leaning into him, just slightly, just enough. Sarah had taken the photo. She'd been standing right there with the camera. Had she seen it? Had any of us? The study wrapped up around 8:15. Sarah Morrison asked if everything was okay. "You seem distracted tonight, Michael." "Just tired," I said. Rachel answered for me. "We're blessed beyond measure, just processing the news about the baby." Derek smiled. His eyes met Rachel's across the room. Some private joke. Some shared secret. Sarah hugged Rachel. "I'm so excited for you guys. You're going to be amazing with a new baby." I watched Derek watching Rachel, and I thought, he knows. He knows it's his. The groups left one by one. Derek and Sarah were last. At the door, Derek shook my hand. "Congrats again, man. Fatherhood. It's the best." His hand was warm, firm, the hand that had been on my wife. "Thanks," I managed. They drove away, red taillights disappearing down our street. Rachel closed the door, turned to me. "That was good, right? Good discussion." "Rachel," my voice came out flat. "Where's your wedding ring?" She looked at her hand. "I told you. Swelling." "Your hands aren't swollen. Pregnancy hormones can—" "Stop." She stopped. "I found the hotel keycard." Her face changed, just for a second. A flash of something, fear, guilt, before it smoothed back out. "What are you talking about?" "Hilton Austin Downtown, room 823, February 15th through 17th, Valentine's weekend, when I was in Dallas." "That was from the women's retreat." "No, it wasn't. I called the hotel. The room was booked under Derek Morrison's name, with a romantic package add-on, champagne, couples massage." Rachel's face froze. We stood there in our living room, the living room where we'd just hosted small group, where we'd talked about biblical marriage and covenant and faithfulness. "Michael, don't." I pulled out my phone, showed her the ultrasound date. 8 weeks pregnant. Conception February 14th through 18th. I was gone. You were here with Derek. "Michael, I can explain. Can you explain the 47 emails, the ones Jennifer pulled from the church server, the ones you thought you deleted?" My voice was rising now. I couldn't stop it. "Can you explain the one you sent during Wednesday worship practice while Emma was on her way to the building? While you were writing about Derek's hands on you 10 minutes before you sang with our daughter about God's love?" Rachel's eyes filled with tears. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this." "Like what? You weren't supposed to get caught?" "No, we didn't mean for what? For me to find out? For me to do math? For biology to exist?" She was crying now, full sobs. "I'm sorry, Michael, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. It was just, he made me feel wanted. You're always so busy with youth ministry and... Don't you dare blame me for this. I'm not, please, for Emma's sake. We can work through this. We can do counseling. Grace. You always talk about grace." Grace. I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I'd married 15 years ago. The woman I'd built a life with. The woman I'd trusted completely. Grace doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. Michael, please. Think about Emma. Think about the church. If this gets out... It's already out. Jennifer knows. Tom will know by morning, and Emma... My voice broke. Emma deserves better than parents who lie to her. She deserves better than a mother who... Don't you dare! Than a mother who what, Rachel? Say it. What are you? What have you done? She didn't answer. She just cried. I removed my wedding ring, the silver band with the engraving, 12 years of wearing it had left a pale line on my finger where the sun hadn't touched. The ring made a small sound when I placed it in her palm. Metal on skin. She flinched. "I'm not doing this tonight," I said, "but tomorrow we're talking, with lawyers, with the truth, all of it." "Michael..." I walked past her, grabbed my keys, headed for the door. "Where are you going?" I didn't answer. I got in my truck and drove. 3 miles down the road, I pulled into an empty parking lot and sat there with the engine running, hands gripping the steering wheel, and let myself feel it. All of it. The rage, the grief, the absolute shattering of everything I'd believed about my life. And somewhere in Austin, in our house, Rachel was probably calling Derek, warning him, making plans. I pulled out my phone and texted Tom Chen, "Need to talk tonight. It's urgent." His response came back 30 seconds later. "My office. I'll be there in 20. I put the truck in drive and headed back to church. Tom was waiting in his office when I got there. Sunday night. The church was dark except for the security lights. He'd made coffee. Strong stuff. The kind you make when you know someone's world is ending. "Talk to me," he said. So I did. I told him everything. The phone, the test, the math, the emails, the hotel key card. I showed him the screenshots, the receipts, the dates. Tom listened without interrupting. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair and exhaled slowly. "Michael, man, I'm so sorry. I need to know what my options are, legally. Texas is a fault-based divorce state. Adultery is grounds. With this evidence," he gestured at my phone, "you have a strong case. Custody too. Emma's 16. The court will heavily consider her preference." "And the baby?" "Paternity test, court ordered. If Derek's the father, which, given the timeline, he obviously is, then custody arrangements will be between him and Rachel. You're not legally responsible." I nodded, tried to process that. A baby. Rachel's baby, not mine. Some kid who'd grow up knowing their mother destroyed a family for... "Michael," Tom's voice was gentle, "you need to tell Emma before someone else does, before the rumor mill starts. I know. And you need to decide what you're doing about the church." "What do you mean?" "Rachel's worship leader. Derek's a small group leader. Elder. Your youth pastor. This is going to explode when it gets out. People will take sides. Pastor Greg will..." He stopped. "Will what?" Tom hesitated. "He'll want to contain it, manage the optics. The building campaign is at $4.2 million. Christmas Eve service is our biggest night. We've already got press coverage lined up. Greg won't want scandal." "So what are you saying?" "I'm saying be prepared for institutional pressure. To keep quiet, to heal privately, to forgive and move on for the good of the church." I stared at him. "You're kidding." I wish I was. Pastor Greg called me into his office Monday morning, 8 a.m., before staff meeting. His office was corner suite, second floor, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the campus, mahogany desk, leather chairs, framed photos of him with various Christian celebrities. He closed the door behind me. "Michael, sit down." I sat. "Tom Chen came to see me last night. Told me there's a situation with you and Rachel." A situation. An alleged affair between Rachel and Derek Morrison. Tom showed me some concerning evidence. "It's not alleged. It happened. It's happening." Pastor Greg nodded slowly. "I understand you're hurt, betrayed. Anyone would be. But Michael, we need to think carefully about how we handle this. The church, the congregation. We're in the middle of a building campaign. Christmas Eve service is in 11 weeks. We've got 5,000 programs already printed with Rachel listed as worship leader. Your family photo is on the back cover." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Greg, my wife is pregnant with another man's child." "I know, and that's devastating. I'm not minimizing it, but we need to think about the bigger picture. 800 families, 10,000 streaming viewers, the kids in your youth group, the damage this could do if it becomes public. If. Michael, I'm offering you a way through this. Paid leave. 3 months, full salary. You and Rachel can do intensive counseling. Work through this privately. By the time you come back, emotions won't be so raw. Maybe Rachel steps back from leading worship, transitions to background vocals. Derek takes a break from small group leadership. Quietly. No drama. No scandal. I stood up. You're asking me to lie. I'm asking you to consider grace, restoration, the model Christ gave us. Christ also flipped tables in the temple when people corrupted sacred things. Michael, my wife wrote emails to her lover during worship practice, 10 minutes before my daughter showed up to sing. She charged hotel rooms to the church credit card. She listed Derek Morrison as her emergency contact at the OB clinic where her best friend works. She broke every vow we made in a church just like this one. And you want me to smile for the Christmas Eve program? Pastor Greg's jaw tightened. I want you to think about what's best for everyone involved, including Emma. Do you really want your daughter growing up knowing her father destroyed the family's reputation, that he chose public humiliation over private healing? Something in me went very cold. Get out of my way, Greg. Michael, I'm going to tell the truth, all of it, to Emma, to the elders, to whoever asks. And if that's not okay with you, I'll resign right now. I walked out. His voice followed me down the hallway. Michael, wait. Let's talk about this. Michael. I didn't wait. Sarah Morrison called me Tuesday afternoon. Her voice was shaking. Michael, can we meet somewhere private? We met at a coffee shop 20 minutes from church. Off campus, out of the way. Sarah looked like she hadn't slept. Her eyes were red. I know, she said as soon as I sat down. About Rachel and Derek. How? I work at Hill Country Women's Health. I'm an OB/GYN nurse. Rachel's been coming in for prenatal appointments for 6 weeks. Sarah's voice cracked. I pulled her chart this morning. Michael, I shouldn't have. It's a HIPAA violation. I could lose my license, but I had to know. Know what? The emergency contact, it's not you, it's Derek, listed as partner. I've called that number 3 times to confirm appointments. I was calling my own husband to confirm prenatal visits for your wife's pregnancy. She started crying. Right there in the coffee shop. Quiet, broken sobs. I'm so sorry. I didn't see it. I should have seen it. They've been using our house. Our guest bedroom. I installed nanny cams 6 months ago because jewelry kept going missing. I thought we had a thief. But I checked the footage last night after your call, and you don't have to. He's been there, Derek, when I'm at work, on my camera, on the phone with her. I heard him say she couldn't finish, just shook her head. We sat there in silence for a long time. 2 people who'd trusted the wrong partners. 2 people who'd been betrayed by the people we'd called family. Finally, Sarah wiped her eyes. I made copies of the medical records, of the camera footage, if you need them, for court. Sarah, you could lose your job. I know, but you deserve the truth. And Emma deserves a father who fought for her, not one who covered it up. She slid a manila envelope across the table. Then she stood up. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. I won't stay married to someone who... Her voice broke again. 20 years. We've been married 20 years, and he was at her ultrasounds, her prenatal visits. While I was at work saving babies, he was... She couldn't finish, just walked away. I opened the envelope. Inside were photocopies of Rachel's medical records. Every appointment, every ultrasound, every time Derek's phone number was called to confirm, and a USB drive labeled Guest Room Sept 12. I pocketed it, didn't watch it, didn't need to. I believed Sarah. I told Emma Tuesday night after dinner, after Rachel had gone to a ministry meeting that I knew was a meeting with Derek to strategize their defense. Emma was in her room, working on homework. Her walls were covered with youth group photos, worship lyrics, Bible verses in decorative fonts, pictures of her and Rachel from various ministry events, mother-daughter matching outfits at the women's retreat, selfies from Wednesday night worship practice. Her whole room was a shrine to the perfect Christian family. I knocked. "Come in." She looked up from her laptop. "Hey, Dad, what's up?" "We need to talk. Can you sit down?" Her smile faded. "That sounds serious." "It is." She closed her laptop, sat on her bed, hugged a pillow to her chest. "Okay, what's wrong?" "Where do you even start? How do you tell your 16-year-old daughter that everything she believes about her family is a lie?" "Emma, I need to tell you something about Mom and me, and it's going to hurt, and I'm sorry, but you deserve the truth." Her face went pale. "Are you getting divorced?" "Yes." "Why? What happened?" I pulled out my phone, showed her the ultrasound photo. "You know Mom's pregnant." "Yeah, obviously." "This ultrasound is dated October 15th, 8 weeks ago. That means the baby was conceived around February 14th to 18th, Valentine's weekend. Do you remember that week?" Emma thought. "You were gone. Dallas conference." "Right, I was gone. Mom was here with you." "Okay." She wasn't getting it yet. "Emma, I wasn't here when this baby was conceived, which means..." I watched her face as understanding hit. Her eyes went wide. The pillow dropped from her hands. No, Dad. You must have gotten the dates wrong. Or maybe the ultrasound. I didn't get the dates wrong. I've checked 5 times. Emma, Mom's been having an affair with Derek Morrison." "Uncle Derek? Sarah's husband? No, you're lying." "I'm not lying, baby." "Yes, you are. Mom would never. She leads worship. She teaches about purity and faithfulness and..." "I know. We were supposed to sing together Sunday. A duet. Good Father, about God's faithfulness. Was she lying then too?" Her voice was rising, cracking, tears streaming down her face now. "Was any of it real, Dad? When she sang about God's love and covenant and all that stuff, was she lying the whole time? How do I lead worship when I don't know if I believe anymore?" "Emma, if Mom could lie while singing about love, what does love even mean?" I sat down next to her on the bed, put my arm around her shoulders. She collapsed against me, sobbing. My strong, faithful, worship-leading daughter, whose entire identity had just shattered. "I've been practicing the harmony part for 3 weeks," she choked out. "I was so excited. I thought we were going to be this amazing worship family. You know, Dad, the youth pastor, Mom, the worship leader, me following in her footsteps. And now..." "I know. How long? How long is she..." "At least 7 months, maybe longer." 7... Emma pulled away from me, stared. 7 months? And you didn't know?" "No, I didn't see it." "How? How did you not see it?" "Because I trusted her. Because I believed people when they said they loved me. Because I was busy with the ministry and youth group and..." My voice broke. "Because I failed to protect you from this, and I'm sorry." Emma was quiet for a long time. Then, "Does he know, Derek, about the baby?" "Yes." "And he's just..." "What? Going to leave Sarah? Leave his kids? For Mom?" "I don't know what their plan is." "Their plan." Emma laughed bitterly. "They have a plan. Of course they have a plan. They've been planning this for 7 months while we've been, what, playing happy family?" She stood up, started pacing, anger replacing grief. "Everyone at school is going to know. Everyone at church. All my friends, their parents are in our small group, Dad. How am I supposed to face them? How am I supposed to lead youth worship when everyone knows my mom..." "You don't have to lead worship. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do." "But I love worship. I love singing. I love..." She stopped, looked at me. "I love it because of her. She taught me. We practiced together. Every Wednesday. Her face changed. "Wait, Wednesday nights?" She wrote those emails during Wednesday worship practice? I nodded. While I was there? While I was singing next to her? 10 minutes before you arrived. Yes. Emma sat back down on the bed, stared at her hands. When she spoke again, her voice was small, broken. I found texts 6 months ago on her phone. She left it on the kitchen counter, a message from someone saved as D. It said, "Can't wait to see you tonight." I asked her about it. She said it was from Denise, from the women's ministry team, planning a meeting. Emma, I knew something was wrong. I felt it, but I prayed about it instead of telling you. I thought if I prayed hard enough, if I was good enough, if I led worship better and read my Bible more and... She started crying again. I thought I could pray it away. I thought if I was a better daughter, she wouldn't... No. I grabbed her hands, made her look at me. Emma, listen to me. This is not your fault. None of this is your fault. You didn't cause this. You couldn't have stopped it. Your mother made choices, adult choices, that have nothing to do with how good or faithful or perfect you are. But if I'd told you about the texts, I would have confronted her 6 months ago instead of now. That's the only difference. She still would have made these choices. This still would have happened. Emma pulled her hands away, wrapped her arms around herself. I don't want to see her right now. Okay. I don't want to sing with her Sunday. Okay. I want to stay with you when you move out. If there's custody stuff, I want to stay with you. My throat closed up. Okay, baby. Promise you won't lie to me, ever. Even if the truth is hard, even if it hurts. Promise me. I promise. She nodded, lay down on her bed, curled into a ball, 16 years old. Still my little girl. Still the baby I'd held in the hospital and promised to protect from everything. I'd failed. I stayed there until she fell asleep. Then I went downstairs, sat in the dark living room, and let myself break. If you've ever had to tell someone you love a truth that would break them, just type truth in the comments. It's the loneliest courage. You're not alone. The elder board met Thursday night. Emergency session. Tom had arranged it. 12 board members, plus Pastor Greg, plus me. They'd seen the evidence. Tom had compiled everything into a binder. Emails, hotel receipts, medical records, ultrasound with dates, timeline chart showing when I was gone and when the baby was conceived. We met in the conference room, 3rd floor, glass walls. I could see the sanctuary below, empty, dark, waiting for Sunday's crowd. Pastor Greg started. Gentlemen, ladies, we're here to discuss a serious matter involving 2 of our ministry leaders. I want to remind everyone that what's said here is confidential. This is not gossip. This is pastoral care. One of the elders, Jim Hawkins, finance chair, spoke up. With all due respect, Pastor, this isn't just pastoral care. This involves financial misconduct. If Rachel charged personal expenses to the church credit card, that's embezzlement. We don't know that for certain. Yes, we do. Tom slid another document across the table. Church credit card statement, February. There's a charge for a Hilton hotel. The same dates, room 823. Rachel signed the receipt, listed it as ministry retreat, but there was no scheduled ministry retreat that weekend. Silence. Another elder, Carol Montgomery, children's ministry, looked at me with tears in her eyes. Michael, I'm so sorry. I can't imagine what you're going through. Thank you. But I have to ask, what are you asking from us? What outcome are you looking for? Accountability for Rachel, for Derek. I'm not asking for revenge. I'm asking for consequences. They broke their marriage vows. They lied to this congregation. They used church resources to conduct an affair. And now Rachel's pregnant with Derek's child while still married to me. If we don't address that, what are we saying to the 800 families who trust us? Pastor Greg shifted uncomfortably. Michael makes valid points, but we also need to consider restoration. The biblical model for dealing with sin in the church is correction, then restoration if there's repentance. Has Rachel repented? Tom asked. Pastor Greg hesitated. She's expressed remorse. That's not what I asked. Has she confessed to the congregation? Has she stepped down from leadership? Has she asked for forgiveness publicly, the way her sin was public? The sin wasn't public. It will be. Michael's filing for divorce. That becomes public record. The paternity test will be public. The custody hearing will be public. We can either get ahead of this or let it explode in our faces. The board argued for an hour. Positions emerged. Some wanted Rachel and Derek immediately removed from all leadership. Some wanted graceful transition. Let them step back quietly, no public explanation. Some wanted full public confession and restoration process. Pastor Greg kept pushing for the quiet option. Think about the Christmas Eve service. 5,000 people, press coverage, potential new members. Do we really want to be known as the church with the affair scandal? Tom stood up. His voice was steady, cold. Do we want to be known as the church that covered up affair and financial misconduct to protect our reputation? Because that's the choice. We can handle this with integrity and take the hit now. Or we can hide it, and when it comes out, and it will come out, we'll be known as the church that chose image over truth. The elder board chair, Robert Mills, called for a vote. All in favor of requiring Rachel Bennett and Derek Morrison to step down from all leadership positions effective immediately. Raise your hand. 7 hands went up, including Tom's, including Carol's. All opposed? 5 hands, including Pastor Greg's. Abstentions? 1. The youth ministry overseer. He looked at me apologetically. Motion carries, 7-5. Michael, I'm sorry you're going through this. The board supports you. Rachel and Derek will be notified tomorrow that they're on indefinite leave from all ministry responsibilities. We'll issue a brief statement to the congregation Sunday. Pastor Greg's face was tight, angry, but he nodded. Fine, I'll draft the statement. Actually, Tom said, I'll draft it, and I'll review it with Michael before it goes out. Greg didn't argue, just gathered his papers and left. After the meeting, Carol pulled me aside. Michael, I voted for accountability because I believe it's right. But I want you to know this is going to get ugly. Some people will support you. Some will say you should have forgiven privately. The church might split over this. I know. And you're okay with that? No, I'm not okay with any of this. But I can't teach teenagers about integrity and then model compromise. I can't tell Emma to stand up for truth and then hide from it myself. She hugged me. You're a good man and a good father. Don't forget that when things get hard. I drove home. Emma was asleep. Rachel was in the guest room. She'd moved there Wednesday night after Emma refused to talk to her. I went to the garage, found a cardboard box, started packing my things. Not much, some clothes, my Bible, my journals, pictures of Emma at various ages. I was leaving my house, my marriage, my life, but I was keeping my integrity. Midnight. I couldn't sleep. Drove back to church, let myself in with my staff key, walked through the dark hallways to the sanctuary, sat in the front pew, same seat I sat in every Sunday, stared at the stage where Rachel led worship, where Emma sang, where I'd given youth announcements for 10 years. The small group photo frame was in my hands. I'd brought it from home, didn't remember grabbing it, but there it was, wooden. Blessed. The picture of 6 couples who'd sworn to love and honor and cherish. I studied Derek's hand on Rachel's back, the way she leaned into him, Sarah holding the camera, smiling, clueless, me standing 10 feet away, clueless. I threw the frame, hard. Against the wall behind the baptistry, it shattered, glass everywhere, the sound echoing in the empty sanctuary. Well, that's one way to handle it. I spun around. My father, Mark Bennett, stood in the sanctuary doorway. 62 years old, retired teacher, widower. He'd driven 3 hours from Houston when I'd called him Tuesday. Dad, what are you... Couldn't sleep either. He walked down the aisle, sat next to me. Thought I might find you here. We sat in silence for a while. Then he spoke. Your mother and I almost divorced. Did you know that? I stared at him. What? You were 15. She'd just been diagnosed with cancer. Treatment was brutal. I wasn't handling it well. Started spending time with a colleague from work. Emotional affair. Nothing physical, but intimate. Wrong. Dad, your mother found emails, made me confess to her, to our pastor, to your grandparents. She filed for separation. I moved out for 3 months. I'd never known any of this. You came back. I did, after I'd proven I was willing to do the work. Counseling, accountability, complete transparency. She forgave me, but she didn't pretend it hadn't happened. She demanded truth first, then forgiveness. In that order. He looked at the broken frame, glass glittering in the security lights. Your mother used to tell me, love without truth is just enabling. Son, you're not abandoning your faith by refusing to lie. You're finally understanding what covenant means. Emma needs to see that real men don't protect reputations. They protect truth. Pastor Greg wants me to cover it up for the Christmas Eve service, for the building campaign. Pastor Greg is afraid of conflict. That doesn't make him evil, just weak. You don't have to be. I'm terrified, Dad. Good. That means you're taking it seriously. He stood up, started picking up glass pieces. Come on, let's clean this up. We swept the broken frame together. My father saved the photo, folded it carefully. Emma will want this someday. Not the frame, the memory. She'll want to remember that there was a time when she believed in good things, and that her father didn't let broken things stay broken forever. He was right, he usually was. We left the church together. The sun was starting to rise. Thursday becoming Friday. 11 weeks until Christmas Eve. 11 weeks until everything I'd built would either stand or fall. But tonight, this morning, I had my father, my integrity, and a daughter who'd chosen me. It wasn't everything, but it was enough. Friday afternoon, Emma texted me. She was at Derek and Sarah's house with Sarah. Could I pick her up? I drove over. Sarah answered the door, eyes swollen. She'd been crying for days straight. Emma's in the kitchen. We've been talking. Emma was sitting at the kitchen table. In front of her was Rachel's phone. The screen was cracked. Mom came by the school today, Emma said. Asked if I'd meet her for coffee. Talk things through. I told her no. She left her phone in my locker, said I should read the texts, that I'd understand if I read them. Did you? Yeah. Emma's voice was flat. 6 months worth. She and Derek were talking about me, Dad, about how I'd be such a good big sister, about how they'd blend the families eventually, about how you were too focused on ministry to notice. Sarah made a sound, half sob, half laugh. They were planning it the whole time, right in front of us. Emma slid the phone across the table to me. I'm done. I'm not talking to her, not singing with her, not pretending. When you file for custody, tell the judge I choose you. Emma, I mean it. I don't care what she says. I don't care how sorry she is. She chose him over us, over me. I choose the parent who told me the truth. I choose you. I looked at Sarah. She nodded. Take the phone, for evidence. I've got my own evidence to deal with. We left together, Emma in my truck, the broken phone in my glove box. Both of us refugees from the marriages we'd thought were solid. Dad? Yeah? Thank you for not lying to me, even though it hurt. You deserved the truth. I know, but not every parent would have given it to me. We drove home in silence, and for the first time in a week, I felt like I could breathe. Tom filed the divorce papers Monday morning, adultery grounds, Texas law, public record. By Monday afternoon, my phone was exploding. Text messages, voicemails, emails, church members who'd seen the elder board statement, friends who'd heard rumors, parents asking if I was still leading youth group. I turned it off. Let Tom handle the calls. The paternity test was scheduled for Wednesday. Court ordered. Rachel's lawyer tried to fight it. Tom shut that down with the timeline evidence, hotel receipts, email timestamps, medical records showing Derek as emergency contact. Wednesday morning, Derek showed up at the clinic. Rachel showed up separately. I didn't go. Didn't need to. The baby wasn't mine. Biology doesn't lie. Results came back Friday. Tom called me from his office. 99.98% probability Derek Morrison is the biological father. I sat down, even though I'd known, even though the math had been clear from the beginning. Hearing it made it real. Rachel's lawyer sent a settlement offer within an hour. Tom continued. She's willing to agree to primary custody with you. Supervised visitation for her. No alimony. She just wants this over. What about Derek? Derek's lawyer is filing for divorce from Sarah. He's requesting shared custody of the baby. Rachel's agreeing. Tom paused. Michael, they're planning to live together, raise the baby together. They've already found an apartment. So that was it. They'd planned the whole thing, burned down 2 families, 20-year marriages, 4 kids between them who'd grown up together, all for... Michael, you still there? Yeah, I'm here. There's something else. Jennifer pulled more records. Turns out Rachel's been charging personal expenses to the church credit card for 18 months. Not just the hotel, dinners, weekend trips, shopping. We're talking $12,000 in unauthorized charges. $12,000? The elder board is meeting tomorrow to decide if they want to press charges. Embezzlement. It's a felony. I closed my eyes. Tom, I don't want her in prison. I just want her out of my life. I know, but it's not your call anymore. It's the church's money. The church's decision. Sunday came. The statement went out. Not during service. Tom advised against that. Instead, a letter, mailed to all members, posted on the website, sent via email blast. It was brief, professional, but clear. Dear Riverside family, it is with heavy hearts that we inform you of leadership changes affecting our worship and small group ministries. Rachel Bennett has resigned from her position as worship leader, effective immediately. Derek Morrison has stepped down from small group leadership and elder responsibilities. These changes follow the discovery of conduct inconsistent with our church's values and biblical teaching regarding marriage and leadership. While we cannot share all details due to privacy and legal considerations, we want to be transparent. Both individuals were engaged in behavior that violated their marriage covenants. Michael Bennett will continue in his role as youth pastor. He has our full support during this difficult season. We ask that you respect the privacy of all families involved, especially the children. We are committed to truth, accountability, and restoration in that order. Please join us in praying for healing and wisdom for everyone affected. In Christ Riverside Elder Board. The response was immediate and divided. Half the congregation rallied. Meals showed up at my door. Cards. Offers to help with Emma. Parents thanking me for modeling integrity for their kids. The other half was furious. How dare I air dirty laundry? Why couldn't we handle this privately? Doesn't the Bible teach forgiveness? What about grace? 200 people left the church that week, switched to other congregations. Some sent letters explaining their disappointment in the lack of Christian charity. Some just disappeared. 1,500 stayed. Some because they believed truth mattered. Some because they were tired of pretending. Some because they'd lived through their own betrayals and wanted to see someone stand up. The church split, not down the middle, but enough to hurt. Sunday morning, I stood in the hallway outside the sanctuary, watching people file in. Some smiled at me, some looked away, some stopped to hug me and whisper encouragement. Emma was with me. She decided to come, not to sing, not to lead worship, just to be there. You sure? I asked her. Yeah, I'm not hiding. Mom hid, Derek hid. We're not them. My daughter, 16 years old, braver than I'd been at 38. We walked in together, front row, same seats, but different now, just the two of us. The interim worship leader, a woman named Christina from the evening service team, led the music. It was good, different, but good. Then Pastor Greg stood up to preach. He looked tired, older than his 55 years. His sermon was on grace, on forgiveness, on not casting stones. He didn't mention Rachel or Derek by name, but everyone knew who he was talking about. Halfway through, he paused, looked directly at me. We're all sinners. We've all fallen short. The question isn't whether someone made a mistake. The question is, how do we respond? With judgment or with the grace Christ showed us? I felt Emma tense next to me, felt the entire congregation holding its breath, and I stood up. Pastor Greg stopped. Michael, do you have something to... Yes? I walked up the aisle, climbed the steps to the stage, took the microphone from his hand. 2,500 people staring at me, 10,000 more watching online. I'm sorry to interrupt, Pastor Greg, but I need to say something. Greg looked panicked. Michael, this isn't the time. It's exactly the time. I turned to face the congregation, saw Tom in the third row, nodding, saw my father in the back, arms crossed, smiling slightly, saw Emma in the front row, sitting up straighter. My name is Michael Bennett. Most of you know me as the youth pastor. Some of you have been asking questions this week, why I'm separating from Rachel, why Derek Morrison resigned, why the elder board sent that letter. I could hear people shifting in their seats, phones being put away, complete attention. I'm not going to share every detail, that's not fair to anyone, but I am going to tell you the truth, because I've spent the last 2 weeks watching truth get buried under words like discretion and grace and privacy. Pastor Greg stepped toward me. Michael. I held up a hand. He stopped. I was taught something in this church. We don't abandon faith when people fail us. I believe that meant protecting those who failed, covering for them, giving them space to heal quietly. I was wrong. I could see people leaning forward. Emma was crying, not sad tears, proud tears. We don't abandon faith when people fail us. We abandon the lies that protected them. Real faith can handle real truth. And the truth is, my wife had an affair with a man we trusted. A man who was in our small group, a man whose wife is her best friend. That affair resulted in a pregnancy. That's why I'm separating. That's why the elder board made the decision they made. Gasps, actual gasps. Some people stood up to leave, about 50, maybe more, walking out in protest. I waited until the doors closed behind them. I understand if that makes you uncomfortable. I understand if you think I should have handled this privately. But I have a 16-year-old daughter who watched her mother lie while leading worship, who watched a man pretend to be a godly leader while breaking his marriage vows. And I will not teach my daughter that love means accepting betrayal. My voice was shaking now, but I didn't stop. I'm separating from my wife because the marriage covenant was broken, not by me. I will not teach your children, your teenagers and youth group, that grace means pretending nothing happened. Grace without truth is just enabling, and I won't enable anymore. I set the microphone down, walked off the stage, down the aisle. Emma stood up and followed me. So did Tom. So did my father. So did Jennifer Rodriguez. So did Carol Montgomery from the elder board. We walked out together, into the lobby, into the sunlight. Behind us, I heard Pastor Greg trying to recover. Heard the murmur of 2,000 voices processing what had just happened. Emma grabbed my hand. Dad, that was the most dad thing I've ever seen. Too much? No. Exactly right. Tom clapped me on the shoulder. Well, that's one way to handle it. The church will either implode or get stronger. No middle ground now. I know. You okay? I thought about it. Really thought about it. My marriage was over. My wife was pregnant with another man's child. Half the congregation probably hated me. My job was probably on thin ice. Everything I'd built for 10 years was fractured. But I'd told the truth. In front of everyone. No hiding, no spinning, just facts. Yeah, I said, I'm okay. If you were in that sanctuary that morning, what would you have done? Would you have stayed type stay to support truth-telling even when it's messy? Or would you have left type leave because some things should stay private? There's no wrong answer. I'm just curious where you'd draw the line. The people who left, some were protecting their own secrets. Some genuinely believed grace meant privacy. The people who stayed, some were hungry for truth. Some were just tired of pretending. Both groups taught me something. The custody hearing was 3 weeks later, November, Judge Patricia Warren presiding. Rachel's lawyer argued I'd created a hostile environment, that going public had been vindictive, that Emma was being manipulated by an angry father. Tom presented the evidence, timeline, emails, medical records, witness statements from Sarah Morrison, financial records showing misuse of church funds. But the most powerful evidence was Emma's letter. The judge called her into chambers, private interview, just Emma, the judge, and a court advocate. They were in there for 20 minutes. When Emma came out, her eyes were red, but her face was calm. We waited in the hallway, Rachel pacing, Derek standing awkwardly by the water fountain. Sarah had come too. She wanted to be there when custody of the baby was discussed. Finally, the judge called us all back in. I've reviewed all evidence and interviewed Emma privately, Judge Warren said. This is a case where a child's preference carries significant weight. Emma is 16, mature, articulate, clear about her reasoning. She looked at Rachel. Mrs. Bennett, Emma provided me with a written statement. I'm going to read portions of it because I believe you need to hear this. Rachel's face went pale. The judge put on her reading glasses. My mom told me that Dad is being cruel by not forgiving her, but I've been learning about honesty in school. If someone steals something, you don't forgive them by pretending they didn't. You forgive them after they admit what they did and try to fix it. I could hear Rachel crying softly. Mom wants us to pretend nothing happened. Dad cries at night when he thinks I'm asleep. He's sad, but he's not lying. I pick the parent who's sad and honest over the parent who's happy and lying. I pick my dad. The judge set the paper down. Based on Emma's clearly expressed preference, the evidence of stability in Mr. Bennett's home, and concerns about the circumstances surrounding the end of this marriage, I'm granting primary custody to Michael Bennett. Rachel Bennett will have supervised visitation twice monthly until the baby is born. At that time, we'll revisit custody arrangements. Rachel's lawyer stood up. Your Honor, supervised visitation seems excessive. Mrs. Bennett moved in with her affair partner 2 weeks after separation. She's facing possible criminal charges for financial misconduct. She has shown a pattern of dishonesty. Supervised visitation is appropriate. My ruling stands. The gavel came down. Emma grabbed my hand, squeezed hard. We'd won. Not because we wanted to win, not because we wanted to hurt Rachel, but because Emma deserved a parent who chose truth. 6 months later, April. The baby was born, a girl, 7 pounds, 3 ounces, healthy, beautiful, born to parents who destroyed 2 families to be together. Rachel texted me a photo. I looked at it once, a baby girl, with Derek's nose and Rachel's eyes, my daughter's half-sister. A child who'd grow up knowing her origin story was betrayal. I deleted the text. Couldn't help her, couldn't fix that, but the church could. Sarah Morrison, now Sarah Chen, after marrying Tom in a quiet ceremony 6 months after their divorce is finalized, had stayed in contact with Derek's brother. Marcus Morrison, he lived in Asheville with his wife, Lisa. They'd been trying to have kids for 8 years. Infertility, failed IVF, Heartbreak after heartbreak. When Marcus heard about the baby, about Derek's situation, about Rachel's legal troubles, about two parents who'd proven they prioritized themselves over their children, he'd called Sarah. Is there any way would they consider adoption? Sarah brought it to me. I know it's complicated, but Marcus and Lisa are good people, stable, faithful. They'd raise her right. And Emma could be part of the baby's life as an aunt, not hiding the truth, just giving this kid a better start than her parents can give her right now. I talked to Emma about it, 16-year-old Emma, who'd survived her mother's betrayal and come out stronger. What do you think? Emma was quiet for a long time. Then I think Mom and Derek made their choice. They chose each other. They didn't choose their families. They didn't choose their kids. Maybe this baby deserves parents who actually choose her. Smart kid. My smart, brave kid. The adoption went through in June. Rachel signed away her rights. Derek's lawyer fought it briefly, but given Derek's financial situation, his business had collapsed when church clients dropped him, and his unstable living situation, the court approved. Marcus and Lisa named her Grace Elizabeth Morrison. Grace. The church held a dedication ceremony, not a baptism. Lisa was Presbyterian, different tradition, but a blessing, a welcome. 60 people showed up. Not huge, but enough. Tom and Sarah, my father, Emma, Jennifer Rodriguez, Carol Montgomery. Pastor Greg had resigned 3 months earlier, vote of no confidence after 800 people left. The new interim pastor, a woman named Rebecca Torres, led the ceremony. Marcus held baby Grace. Lisa stood beside him, crying happy tears. 8 years of waiting, 8 years of praying. And here was their daughter, born from tragedy, adopted into love. Emma stood next to them. They'd asked her to be part of the ceremony. Honorary aunt, not hiding the connection, just redefining it. Emma held Grace for a moment, looked down at this tiny human who shared her DNA, but not her last name. This little girl will never know her biological parents chose themselves over her, Emma said quietly, voice shaking. She'll know she was chosen by people who actually wanted her. Maybe that's what Dad's been trying to teach me. We don't owe loyalty to people who betray us. We owe ourselves the truth. And sometimes truth looks like letting go so something beautiful can grow. I stood in the back row, watching my daughter hold her half-sister, watching a couple who'd suffered hold their miracle, watching a church that had been broken begin to heal by witnessing redemption. And I cried, not sad tears, not angry tears, just release. The weight I'd been carrying for 7 months finally lifting. We don't abandon faith when people fail us. We abandon the lies that protected them. And when we abandon those lies, sometimes grace can finally do its real work. 1 year later, Christmas Eve, December 24th, the biggest service of the year, I stood backstage with Emma. She was wearing a green dress, simple, elegant. Her hair was up. She looked so much older than 17, but then again, betrayal ages you. You ready? I asked. Yeah, you? Yeah. We weren't singing together, just standing together. Emma had decided to lead worship again, on her terms. Not because her mother had, because she wanted to, because worship for her had become about honesty before God, not performance for people. The sanctuary was packed, 3,200 people. The church had grown, not in spite of the scandal, maybe because of it. People were hungry for authenticity, for leaders who admitted brokenness, for a place where truth didn't have to hide. The live stream had 14,000 viewers, more than ever. Pastor Rebecca gave me a signal. Time for announcements. Emma and I walked out together, not as the perfect pastoral family, as two people who'd survived, who'd chosen healing over hiding. The applause started before I reached the microphone. Not loud, not showy, just acknowledgement, support. Merry Christmas, Riverside. My voice was steady, warm. I'm Michael Bennett. For those of you who are new, I'm the youth pastor, and this is my daughter, Emma. Emma waved, smiled, genuine. Before we get into tonight's service, I want to say something. A year ago, this church went through a crisis. Some of you left. Some of you stayed. Some of you are here for the first time tonight because you heard we're a place where truth matters. I paused, looked at the congregation, saw familiar faces, saw new faces, saw empty seats where Rachel used to sit, where Derek's family used to sit. I'm not going to rehash everything, but I want you to know Emma and I are okay, more than okay. We're healing. And part of that healing has come from this community, from people who brought meals when we couldn't cook, who sat with us when we couldn't talk, who showed up even when it was awkward. Emma took the microphone. I'm leading worship tonight. Not because I have it all figured out, not because I'm over what happened, but because I learned something this year. Faith isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about showing up broken and letting God meet you there. The church was silent, listening. My mom taught me to sing. She taught me to lead worship, and for a long time I thought I couldn't do those things anymore because of what happened. But my dad taught me something better. He taught me that truth and faith aren't enemies. That real worship happens when we stop performing and start being honest. She handed the microphone back to me. So tonight, I said, we're going to celebrate. Not because everything's perfect, but because God shows up in broken places. Because grace doesn't mean hiding sin. It means cleaning up the mess and building something new. Merry Christmas, everyone. The music started. Emma walked to the front of the stage. Started singing "Oh Holy Night." Her voice cracked on the high note. She didn't try to hide it, didn't apologize, just kept singing. I put my hand on her shoulder, steady, support. And in the third row, Marcus and Lisa sat with baby Grace, 8 months old now, chubby cheeks, Derek's nose, Rachel's eyes, Emma's half-sister, raised by people who chose her. Grace was sleeping, peaceful, unaware of the story that brought her here, unaware that her existence was proof that even the worst betrayals can birth unexpected beauty. After the service, Emma and I walked through the lobby. People stopped us, hugged us, thanked us. Some cried, some shared their own stories of betrayal and healing. Tom and Sarah found us. Sarah was pregnant, 3 months, glowing. "You did good tonight," Tom said. "We did okay." "Better than okay." Sarah hugged Emma. "You're so brave, sweetheart." Emma hugged her back. "I had good examples." My father appeared with coffee. "Proud of you, son." "Thanks, Dad." "Your mother would be too, you know. She always said truth before comfort. You honored that tonight." We stood there in the lobby. This makeshift family, Emma and me, Tom and Sarah, my father, Jennifer Rodriguez, Carol Montgomery, Marcus and Lisa with baby Grace. People who'd been broken in different ways. People who'd chosen truth. People who'd rebuilt. The church wasn't what it was a year ago. It was smaller, different, but maybe better. Real instead of perfect. Honest instead of polished. We don't abandon faith when people fail us. We abandon the lies that protected them. Real faith can handle real truth. And standing there on Christmas Eve, surrounded by people who'd walked through fire and came out refined, I believed it. Not because the ending was happy, but because it was honest. Michael and Emma redefined what family means. Not who you're born to, but who shows up with truth and love. If you've built your own chosen family after betrayal, or if you've had to rebuild yourself after someone you trusted broke you, tell me about them in the comments. Who showed up for you when your world fell apart? And if this story moved you, subscribe. I tell stories about faith, betrayal, and the courage it takes to choose truth when everyone's asking you to lie. I'll see you in the next one. Epilogue. I keep certain things in a box now. Reminders. The crushed pregnancy test box, the hotel key card, the small group photo, not the frame, just the picture. Marcus saved it for Emma. She was right. She did want it eventually. Not to remember the betrayal, to remember what she learned from it. My wedding ring is in there too. I took it off the night I confronted Rachel. Haven't worn it since. But I kept it. Not as a symbol of what I lost, as a symbol of what I chose to protect. Emma starts college in the fall. She's majoring in worship arts, not because of her mother, in spite of her mother. She says worship taught her the difference between performance and presence, between image and intimacy. She sees Rachel twice a month, supervised visits that have slowly become unsupervised as Rachel's rebuilt her life. Rachel married Derek 8 months after our divorce finalized. They're fine, I guess, not happy, not stable, but trying. Emma visits baby Grace every few months. Asheville isn't far. Marcus and Lisa send pictures. Grace is walking now, talking. She calls Emma Emmy. Doesn't know yet that the woman who gave birth to her lives 3 hours away and rarely visits. Maybe one day Grace will ask questions about where she came from, about why her parents gave her up, about the complicated math of family trees. And when she does, we'll tell her the truth, not to hurt her, but because she deserves to know that her story started with brokenness but didn't end there. That sometimes the most loving thing parents can do is admit they're not ready, not equipped, not whole enough to raise whole children. That being chosen matters more than being born. That family isn't who you're tied to by blood. It's who shows up when everything falls apart. The church hired a new senior pastor, a woman. Pastor Rebecca stayed on permanently. She preaches on Sunday mornings. I still do youth announcements. Emma leads worship twice a month. We're not the biggest church in Austin anymore. Not the flashiest, not the one with the perfect families and the programs, but we're real. And people are hungry for real. My father moved to Austin last year, lives 10 minutes away, has dinner with us every Sunday. He's teaching Emma to drive, teaching me to forgive myself for missing the signs. You can't see what people work hard to hide, he tells me. You trusted. That's not a weakness. That's faith. Maybe he's right. I still struggle sometimes with anger, with wondering if I could have done something different, with watching couples in the church and wondering if they're hiding what Rachel hid. But I'm learning that you can't live in constant suspicion. That trust has to be rebuilt, even after it's been shattered. That faith, real faith, is choosing to believe in good things while acknowledging bad things exist. Emma and I have a tradition now. Every December 24th, we go to the sanctuary early, before anyone else arrives. We sit in the front row, same seats, and we talk about the year, what we survived, what we learned, what we're grateful for. Last year, Emma said, "I'm grateful you didn't lie to me, even when the truth sucked." This year, I told her, "I'm grateful you chose truth too. You're braver than I was at your age." I learned from the best, she said. You learn from watching what not to do. That too. We sat in comfortable silence, the sanctuary filling up around us. Christmas lights twinkling, poinsettias on the stage, everything looking perfect and festive and bright. But we knew, Emma and I knew, that the real beauty wasn't in the decorations. It was in the people. Imperfect people, broken people, people who'd lied and been lied to, people who'd failed and been failed, people who kept showing up anyway. That's what faith looks like, I think. Not perfection, not pretending, just showing up, telling the truth, doing the next right thing. Emma stood up to head backstage, stopped, looked back at me. "Dad?" "Yeah." "I'm glad you're my dad. I'm glad you're my daughter." She smiled, that genuine Emma smile that had survived everything, and walked away. I sat there alone for a moment, looked at the seat next to me. Empty now, where Rachel used to sit, where my wife used to sit, and I didn't feel angry, didn't feel sad, just peaceful. We don't abandon faith when people fail us. We abandon the lies that protected them. And when we do that, when we finally, courageously, painfully let go of the lies, we make room for something better. Not perfect, not easy, not without scars, but true. And in the end, true is all that matters.